Think about the fight. Think about the fight. Clubber Lang's in here. He's trying to hurt you, Rock. He's trying to hurt you. Okay, here he comes. Jab. He's jabbing. He's jabbing. He's trying to hurt you. You gotta fight him. You gotta move.
Up against the meeting. He's up against the rope. Here's the corner.
He's hooking. He's hooking. He's hooking. Damn, Rock, come on. What's the matter with you?
Tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
What up, YouTube? I have a question for myself, and the question that I've been mulling over and discussing with myself for probably a good lot of time. The question I have is, or the question I ask myself, or the question I definitely have heard this from people. Actually, let me slow down a little bit. I've heard this from people. Is they say, who is your enemy, or who do you look at that slows you down? And that is what's always so interesting about people in general. They will ask you questions, if whether it's a good or a bad question, but I always take any question as a question that I can explore and maybe dive into and learn a little bit more about myself. So when someone asks me, who is your enemy, then I just turn the thing on myself and I say, yeah, who is my enemy? And I started to study things and see things like, I look at those things from the outside. I mean, obviously I'm looking this way and I see the fact that, I'm not where I want to be. And I see this guy or this lady or someone in a place where I want to be. So instead of sitting there and getting confused and confusing myself and being frustrated, getting annoyed and all those things, I sit with that for a second. Like, why am I jealous, or why am I upset? Why do I care? First off, caring about what someone has is immature, I would say, or it's definitely a level of, you're lacking the awareness, or I'm lacking the awareness because I'm talking about myself. But the question is, who is my enemy? And I have Sun Tzu. If anybody knows who Sun Tzu is, I would recommend anyone look up his quotes and read it. But if you know who he was, you would have already looked up the quotes. But if you don't know who he is, you should check out some of his quotes. And they're actually, he's a warrior. I'm not going to go into all the detail of who he is. But the quote that just jumped out to me from him was, or that he had said, to know your enemy, you must become your enemy. And I found that quote years ago. And how do I become my enemy? How do I look at the fact that if I'm looking at someone as the enemy, how do I become them? So when I played sports, whether running track, basketball, whatever I was doing, you look at this other person across from you, no matter what sport you're in or in the next lane or whatever. And little bit of you is like, no, he's against me. And actually this person's not to my left. Let's use track, for example, to your left. He's not an enemy, but you have to create that reality. Like, wait a minute, he's trying to beat me. Of course he is, right? We're running track. On the right side of you, there's another person, and you create this whole thing of, this is my enemy. We're all going for the same goal. We're all accomplishing the same thing. So I look left and right and I'm like, they're not going to beat me. And the thing about the word enemy is, as I'm looking left and right, I'm honestly looking at myself. I'm looking at the same person going for the same goal, like the finish line. And I'm looking at them and saying, I wonder, if I'm insecure about it, I'm like, I wonder if they worked as hard as I did. I wonder if they're fast. And nowadays everything's online. You can see everybody's times, but that's another conversation. But I'm angry with this person, or at least creating a reality with these persons next to me. For what reason? In order to accomplish a goal. And let's just say the gun goes off. Well, the gun did go off. So the gun goes off and we get to the end of the race. and those two people beat me. And the first thing I think is, or could think is, wait, maybe I'm not fast enough. Maybe I'm not good enough. They must train super hard, or their coach might be better than mine. And you drum up all these things that really, probably for the most part, are in your head. I would say good 90% of that is in your head. And you may go up to the stand, you get frustrated. You sit by yourself because you expected to win. You thought all the things, or created all the things around you to win. But then if you learn something about what is your enemy, or who is your enemy, and let's run the race back and make it very simple. If I have enough time to sit and analyze left and right, the lanes, right in the moment, I pretty much lost the race. I already perceived the fact that I wasn't going to win. I've already done that. I've already sat there and was like, okay, this person to my left is this fast and blah, 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 what I said before. And this person to my right has blah, 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 blah. If I've already done that, I pretty much already lost. So in reality, and the truth is, those aren't my enemies. I've created an enemy within myself. And there's an African proverb about the enemy within will do you no harm. I gave a shorter version. Jadea put it up, so we're not worried about it. But when you consider and you think about the fact of, I created that loss by just not understanding that I'm my biggest, hindrance in this race. I did that. And that is hard enough in itself. Like, wait, I didn't do that. Like, wait a minute. No, I really trained hard. And let's just say you did. Let's say I did. Remember, we're talking about me. So I did train harder than the persons to my left and my right. I did. I was doing so many push-ups. I did this. And let's say you did. And it's all 100% accurate. And you have no way of knowing that. But let's just say you did. You lost the race because you didn't perceive winning. That's why I lost. I didn't lose the race because they're better than me. I lost the race because I now perceived everything around me except for the finish line. I trained for the finish line, but now I'm focused on who's in the left and to the right of me. And God, how many times do we do that in our life? How many times have I done that? Looking for the enemy, looking for someone who's against me. And I'm honestly against myself. I'm viewing myself in the moment, focusing on all my shortcomings, all the things that I'm striving for this goal. I'm trying to do this, but I'm not smart enough. I want to play basketball, but I'm not tall enough. And we marvel, I marvel. I get excited when back in the day, I'll say like Spud Webb and Muggsy Bogues, me being 5'9", around up to 5'10" all the time, because that's important. Me being that, I always looked to those men and I enjoyed their game. Spud Webb winning the dunk contest, and just Muggsy Bogues in the passing and everything. Just love Muggsy. Watching him, do his thing. And so it's so many things that you would say, or you could say that, oh, I should have done different before I ran this race, or I should have done this different, or I could have done this different. How about Joseph, talking to myself, how about you just start believing in yourself and working just as hard as you do? Because in essence, I'm always a hard worker, but we all had those times where we looked to the left and to the right of us, where we started to perceive something that really we're creating, when the finish line is the complete focus. All the focus is the finish line. You train hard enough to run the race. You train hard enough to get the job, or you studied, or whatever the case may be. You did all the right things to accomplish your goals, and you're not accomplishing them, or they're not coming to you as quick as you may think they should. Maybe you're looking to the left and the right of you. And when I get that revelation, it never feels good. It never feels, I don't get that, oh, yippee feeling. A lot of times my insecurities roll in, from when I was a child, or maybe because I struggled in school, and those things, those insecurities come in, and I've learned, and I teach all the people around us, the athletes for sure. It's like, hey, write that stuff down. Cindy would always tell me on the write it down, or she had a thing where she said, write it down, and then on the left side write the bad, and on the right side write the good, and then analyze it. Are those your thoughts? And 100% of a lot of what I'm thinking in that moment, when I'm looking to the left or the right of me, they're not my thoughts. And what I mean by not my thoughts, it's something I either heard, it's something I perceived from watching somebody, or the biggest thing is something going back to kind of the first, is like someone said to me and I believed it to be true. And when you start crossing that stuff out, like, wait a minute, I don't think that way. That's not my thought. I learned that from this person, or I learned this from this person. And that's not me. That is not me at all. So once I grasp that, then that's where the excitement comes, because now I can replace that belief system. And how do I do that? For me personally, it's fitness. Fitness for me is my meditation. I get up, and every morning I ground, I have my mantras, I do all those things, but the physical activity, like a walk or a bike ride, doesn't have to be fast. I repeat the mantra over and over and over. And in this particular situation, if we're using the left and the right, I don't discuss the left and the right. I'm proud of the fact I was like, thank you. I thank myself for one, for being mature enough to get to this point of understanding. And I say, thank you, the person to the left of me, the person to the right of me, because now I know where I should focus, or now I know where to set my intention, and all my intentions on the finish line. Now, that was a long mantra, but I always say thank you to the left, thank you to the right. And then as I'm walking or biking, thank you to the left and thank you to the right. And as I continue to say that and be open to hearing what my answer is to that particular moment, like what's going to come to me. And I'm not going to jump in and say, oh, this is what came to me. Cause I ain't gonna say I just made this up, but this is all a hypothetical thing that I'm discussing right now. But take a step back for a second and allow the universe to set that thing in your heart and set that thing in your emotions to go, wait a minute, all the stuff you debunked and you pushed it aside that you said are not your thoughts and not your emotions, I'm going to replace it with something, because I'm asking, you shall receive. So as it comes, I don't anticipate it not coming either. It will always come. It will always happen. It will always manifest. And I said those things because that's what I have to say to myself. But it didn't happen right now. Oh, da 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 da. All that is irrelevant. So I keep saying it, persuaded that it will change. And it not only will change my life, it will change the people around me because of who I am. And that is something that I constantly, I kind of felt a little excited because I wanted to go a little further, but I don't want to talk too fast or say too many things to confuse anybody. I want to make this thing as simple as possible, as if it is that simple. And people say, well, I can't do it like you do it. That's a lie. Like, that's something someone told you or you heard. You can do it just like I did it. Oh, I don't have the time. That's a lie. I'm just going to try to debunk some of the things we say. Oh, I'm not as young as you. I'm not as old as you. I'm as mature as you. That's a lie. Like, all those things are made up. They're constructs we have made up in our head. And we say those things to ourselves, and we don't realize that we're actually creating the enemy within ourselves. We are our worst enemy. And it's helped me out, the enemy thing. Les Brown's, when he talked about it, whenever he recorded that speech that he gave, it was many years ago. Yeah, I never forgot that. It was something that, I don't know if I first heard it from my mom playing it, or definitely when YouTube was a thing, I would watch it often. So I would say almost 20 years. Well, I would say 20 years now. I remember saving that back in YouTube when I kind of could understand it and watching that clip. So yeah, we all are our worst enemy, period. And I believe that. And I know that. So I'm glad I shared this, and I'm blessed that it helps someone. So peace out. Peace. Hey folks, thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Oh yeah, hit that bell, so you can know more about Swift Sundays.